Welcome back to my channel. I'm Nate and this is Nate's Vintage Trains. So this is the first video for my version of the 12 Days of Christmas. It's been a while since I've posted a good number of videos, especially in a sequence like this. So I thought I'd do something a bit special. I was going through my files, you could say, or just everything that's in my bookcase that's behind me because I moved it around from where it was previously. And I found some papers that I had printed out and written about a year ago from a video series that I've been meaning to do. So I thought I'd just jump on the ball and do a 12 Days of Christmas for 2022. I don't know if I'll do this every year, but at least for this year. This series of papers is about individual early members, more notable members, not every single person, that was a part of SCLS, as in Southern California Live Steamers, which I am a member of. Now, these members have notable, railroads that they owned themselves, either miniature, full scale, or otherwise. But for this video, before we get into describing the actual members, which will be tomorrow's video, we're going to do a bit of an introduction to how live steam became popular in the United States and how it evolved down to Southern California. So please enjoy this video and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next 11 days of videos. And without any further ado, let's get into it. So the first member we will be taking a look at, well, more or less honorary members, are a group of 4 men, and this will be just a short history here. We have Carl Purinton, Harry L. Dixon, Lester Friend, and Lillian, nicknamed Curly Lawrence. First, we're going to start with the last of these people, Curly. Lillian, nicknamed Curly Lawrence, but best known by his pen name LBSC, was born September 27, 1883. He worked for the London, Brighton, and South Coast Railway of England as a fireman. The earliest small locomotive design he created was in 1912, which was an 060 tank engine. He would go on to produce over 100 different designs, building over 50 locomotives in gauges of 2.5 inches, 3.5 inches, and 5-inch gauge. The idea of forming the Brotherhood of Live Steamers was because of Curly Lawrence. When this idea came around, Carl Purinton volunteered for a position of secretary to collect all the names and make sure everything was in order for this new organization. One man had the idea of creating the Wandering Locomotive Book. Ed Berg had this idea and gave it to Charles, or Carl Purinton. This book would go around the United States and Canada, collecting various names. One person would send it to another and send it to another person they knew that was into live steam and was building their own locomotive or had some knowledge of sorts of locomotive building. And this would go around, people would write an article and put a few photos in this book. And when it started, it was just sent out by Carl Purinton, and sometimes it wouldn't return to him for 3 years on end. And by the end of when most of these builders' information was collected in these books, it was in a crate in 5 large volumes of books. Harry Dixon assisted Carl Purinton for the West Coast of the United States, since Carl was based in Massachusetts and Harry Dixon in California. The first meet for the Brotherhood of Live Steamers occurred in 1933 at Carl Purinton's home. There was 120 feet of track, and this was the first exchange of ideas and tips for live steam locomotive construction and operation. Soon, too many people were there for the meets, and it was moved across the United States and Canada to various other people's home tracks and layouts. One of the places that the Brotherhood of Live Steamers expanded to was Lester Danforth's Friends layout in Danvers, Massachusetts. Lester Friend paid a visit to some of the other live steamers on the western side of the country between Chicago and the West Coast. He brought his locomotive Livy, which was based on a Boston and Albany 466 tank locomotive. This locomotive was 3.5-inch gauge, and it was operated in many cities including the San Francisco area, Seattle, Denver, Chicago, Minneapolis, and of course Los Angeles. In July of 1941, Friend visited Southern California again to get the live steamers in the area to form a club. He met with 5 people, and Southern California Live Steamers was formed in January 1942 when club members were elected. The first officials were Dick Bagley as chair, Dick Johnson as vice chair, Stan Chovell as treasurer, Bud Stump as secretary, and the famous Ward Kimball as corresponding secretary. Thank you for watching this video. If you did like it, please subscribe so you don't miss any other videos. And as always, I'm Nate for Nate's Vintage Trains, reminding you to keep it old school. Merry Christmas, and of course, from the bottom of my heart, God bless you all.